So today we're going to be using some nightshade on my rear side markers on the Mustang, and I'll do an install for you and then show you the process on how to do this, and you get a pretty decent outcome on this. So come over here. Alright, so now we're just going to pull these off and we're going to just kind of smoke these out so that way they kind of blend more into the black scheme of the car. So all you do, put your little screwdriver in there, kind of push it, and then they just come right out. And you fiddle with it, and then there's a little clip right here, and you kind of push it, and then they just come out like that. So we'll set this one aside, and then we'll go to the next one. This side, and you kind of just do the same thing, push, and then pops out, pull it, wiggle it a little bit, there. Same thing, that little tab right there, just press it and just kind of wiggle and pull, boom. And then we're gonna go inside and then prep these. We're gonna sand them and then put some spray tint. That's the outcome on these. Pretty good and durable. We'll see you in there. Alright, so for the nightshade tinting process, you're gonna need the nightshade itself, and then you're gonna need some kind of clear coat. I got the matte finish on accident. I would try to go with the gloss. The matte finish works, it works just as good. It's just a little bit different shade. And then you're gonna need a cup of water, a bowl of water, something to get your sandpaper wet. And then you're gonna need some sandpaper, and I would try to go for like 2000 grit. That seems to be, adequate. So you're going to want to remove your little light bulbs that are in here already. We'll do one at a time so we don't get those confused. And then we will get some sandpaper. Alright, so now we got the sandpaper cut. We'll kind of fold it in half. Then we'll take your water and then just kind of get it wet a little bit and just start sanding. And take your time and go over it evenly. Try to get the sides of everything. It's not too important since you're not going to be able to see it, but just do your best and just kind of keep going over. And then you're going to want to dry this in a minute. And that way you can see where you have sanded and if you need to sand it elsewhere or in a different spot. Oh, and I forgot, we need paper towels and some kind of glass cleaner, Windex or something to clean the surface off. So now we'll kind of wipe this off. And it's probably going to be hard to see on the camera, but there is light scuff marks and everything. And that's kind of what we want, but I'm probably going to have to sand more because you want it to kind of be like a dull finish so it's not so shiny and glossy. So we'll just keep sanding. side off. And just kind of see what it looks like. It looks pretty even, and I can feel it's not very smooth anymore, so that's kind of what we want. Now at this point, we'll just go on and do the next one. So it definitely doesn't look as shiny anymore in the light. You can see where we sanded and everything looks about even. So now we're gonna go ahead and make sure this is all dry. And then we're gonna get rid of our water, get rid of our wet rag. And then we're just gonna put some Windex on here, on our napkin. And then make sure we clean it pretty good. And then you're gonna wanna dry it and do it to the next one. Just to get everything off, oils or anything. You could use alcohol, and there's little writing in here since from the Ford factory. And just make sure the water's out of those, because it tends to stick in there. So at this point, we're gonna shake our nightshade for a while, and I am gonna do it inside, so I'm gonna open up the windows. Alright, so I've gone ahead and shook the nightshade for about a good 3 minutes or so, and then now I set these up so that way they're facing up. Hopefully they don't fall over, but if they do, well, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with that. But make sure the can of nightshade is kind of warm. Maybe put it in like warm water or something. Just try not to get the spray part of the can in the water. And just make sure it's warm, and then do a couple, spray shots. I would recommend not doing this in your house. If you do, be prepared to make a mess. So just do like a couple, practice shots. Make sure it's coming out good. And then you're gonna want to do this a good, like 10 inches away or so, and do, just do light coats, because you can always add more and you can't take any off. So we're gonna just try to go evenly all the way around, make sure we get in on the sides and everything else. So here goes nothing. And I'm telling you, a little goes a long ways with this stuff. So, I mean, I probably even did a little too much right there, but now we're gonna let that dry for about half an hour, and then we're gonna come back, sand it again real lightly, wet sand it, and then dry it off as much as we can, and then do another spray. And you can go as dark as you want, to the point where you can't see any light, or you could stop here, and if you like this, just this much, this amount of tint, then you could stop here, let it dry, and then wet sand it, and then move on with the clear coat. So if you just want this, skip the video a little bit, and then watch me put on the clear coat. So we're gonna let that dry, and we'll be back here in a second. Alright, so it's been about 30 minutes, and these actually look pretty smooth, and and they're dry to the touch, I think. I said that before I even touched it. So we're gonna sand them a little bit, just so they're all even, because you can see like stipple in it. We're gonna try to sand that away just real lightly, because we're not trying to take the paint off. We're just trying to get the burrs out. So just really, really, really lightly. You're gonna want to sand it, wet sand it, really lightly. That should be fairly good. Get a paper towel. And just wipe all that off really good. And now it looks really super dull, which is kind of what we want. And if there's any shiny spots, you want to sand that, so that way it all looks pretty dull. Because if you got shiny spots, you haven't sanded those parts yet. So make sure it's all kind of evenly dull, because in the end it'll look pretty good. And then we'll do it to this one. And in those letters, you're not really going to get in there with sandpaper, so just do your best to get in there, but it ain't going to be perfect right there. And it's a pretty small light, so on a car, you're really not going to notice that. So just make sure it's really dry, and then we'll go ahead and shake the can up a little bit more, and then go ahead and give it another layer. I'm going to try to make these pretty dark, too, so darker than my actual taillights, because these, they can go darker because you're not trying to show somebody that you're stopping, right? Alright, so good. I went ahead and shook this can up pretty good. Now we're just going to do the same thing, just a little quick little spray, put a few sprays, and then it should be good. Alright, so let's get pretty dark. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, they're pretty dark. In the reflection, you can see pretty good. They're still red, but see that stipple? Once it kind of dries, it kind of goes away. But you just want to sand that off. And then once you put the clear coat on, then it'll come out looking pretty smooth, and you won't even notice really. But that's probably just because it's wet. So yeah, we may or may not do one more coat. These are actually pretty dark. They're a little lighter off camera, but they're looking good. So we're gonna let those sit for about another 30 minutes or so, and then we'll come back and sand them. Okay, so I've gone ahead and actually put another coat of tint on there, and then I sanded them. So just to kind of speed up the video a little bit. And now I'm going to put this clear coat on. And it's pretty much the same process. So by now you guys should know how to do this. So here goes. So at this point, I'm gonna let it dry and possibly do another coat, sand it in between coats, and then sand the very last one, and then clean them off, and then it should be good to install in the car. I'll probably just install them tomorrow morning because it's getting late and the video quality won't be that good. So I'm gonna finish this up tonight and then show you what they look like in the morning, and putting them in and just snapping it back in and plugging them in, snapping them in. That's as simple as that. So that, you folks, is how to tint your tail lights, marker lights, or anything else like that with the nightshade. Just make sure you take your time, do it right, take the lights out of the vehicle, otherwise you're gonna get overspray on them and nobody wants to see that on your car. So if you have any questions, type them down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, or if it was helpful, just leave a like and subscribe. So until the next one, we'll see you later.